First day, first hour. We can do many things in the first, but first, we're going to drill, baby, drill. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. Day one, I will seal the border. I will sign their pardons on day one. Starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again.
It is going to be a very busy day one. And in fact, moments ago, we saw a motorcade arriving at at Arlington National Cemetery. We do expect President-elect Trump to be laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns at some point in the next hour or so. My terrific panel is here with me. David Axelrod, I want to start with you. You have been in the White House on a day one of a presidency. A few different promises when Barack Obama took office. But put this in perspective.
My suggestion is, just listening to President Trump, that his first executive order should be to make day one like a year long. I think that would make his life easier. Listen, I think it is important to get out of the box quickly and signify that you are following through on the commitments you made as a candidate. They've clearly been planning that for months. I think a lot of the attention is going to be on the immigration issue, which was central to his election. The question is, are there other things that happen on day one that are not widely supported by the public, pardons and overreaches, and will the immigration issue eclipse all of that?
And this morning, Mike Waltz, who's going to be President-elect Trump's national security advisor, said that just taking immigration as one example, that is going to happen within minutes of Trump taking the oath of office. The question we still don't fully know is, in what form is he going to fulfill those promises on immigration?
It looks like there are a number of ways that they're at least foreshadowing that they plan to take executive action on day one. You're going to see likely work, one, to build the wall, to make that reinforcement there. But you'll also see where they want to begin the negotiations on remain in Mexico policy and asylum seekers totally. So you're starting to see them take that aggressive posture where when they get into the White House, Donald Trump is going to do what he said he would do for the American people, which is deliver a secure border in the United States. He's going to start taking those steps. And that's really critical because, to David's point, hitting the ground running, coming into day one of the administration, Donald Trump only has 4 years. This is his second term. So he's got to get on the ground and get moving immediately. And I expect a lot of executive action on the border.
I was just going to say on the border, right? We saw New York Times Ipsos had a poll out yesterday. 80% of Americans, far more than support Donald Trump, support deportation of criminal aliens immediately. 80% of Americans. That's an incredible number. And so I think Americans will see some of these.
Well, you read the New York Times. I read the Wall Street Journal. And their poll also said that 70% don't want long-term immigrants deported, don't want these dreamers deported. So he has to choose his targets carefully.
Yeah, but listen, to your point, David, there are 1.6 million criminal aliens here adjudicated, ready for deportation. Probably another 500,000. So you've done this in the Obama administration. That's over 2 million people ready to go to be deported. That's going to take a little bit of time. That's going to take a little bit of time, and let's get at it, America, because that's what people want to see.
I'm just trying to chime in before the Ravens-Bills game, guys.
Let's go Buffalo.
So I disagree with you slightly about the fact that he has 4 years. I think that the president has about 18 months, right? And he probably doesn't have that much goodwill. He probably has about 100 days of goodwill from the American public. But he has about 18 months because that's when you'll start to see the House kind of shrink a little bit more friction because we'll be ready for a re-election and Democrats feel as if they can take back the House. So he has to do as much as he can as quickly as possible. That's first. The second thing is I'm not as concerned about day one. We were talking about this on the way over here just a little bit. Day two, I think, on Tuesday, when they actually start these mass deportations, I think that the president of the United States has picked on a foe in the city of Chicago. And the mayor of Chicago, which he can easily run circles around. And I don't try to come on TV and blast.
Wait, hold on. Wait, that who can run circles around?
That Trump can.
Run circles around the mayor of Chicago?
He's very unpopular, 14% approval rating. I think that there is a danger for Democrats if Trump takes steps that people believe are reasonable, and Democrats reflexively resist. And he's chosen a foe in Chicago who's most likely to be.
And that's my point, because to David's point, yes, do we want to deport individuals who are here illegal, who've committed crimes? Yes, but we know.
Love that. I love Bakari agreeing.
But this is where we disagree.
Your reputation is ruined.
Yeah, I don't. You won't get into an inauguration party tonight at all.
I got my tickets already. Thank God.
But the difference is what's going to happen is when you have these individuals who've committed crimes, who also lived with individuals who are here illegally, who have not done anything wrong.
It's tricky.
It's not tricky. It's going to be anti-American, and that imagery is going to be a problem. But Democrats have to be nuanced enough. And look, I much rather prefer him going into Little Rock with Frank Scott, or Birmingham with Randall Wolfen, or Atlanta with Andre Dickens.
No, but
let's ask David. How did Barack Obama do it? He deported a lot of people.
Yeah, more than Donald Trump.
Well, can I just ask you?
How did he do it?
I want to ask David a different question, which is just kind of picking up where your friend Rahm Emanuel left off with me this morning on kind of what you're talking about, which is how do Democrats pick and choose where to say hair on fire, with Donald Trump almost certainly going to fulfill all of the promises that he made, at least rhetorically, on issues that they don't believe in.
Promises, then he's going to have problems. They have to be discreet about which ones are actually popular. But Democrats also have to be commonsensical. People do want the border under control. People do want accountability when people break the law, whether they're presidents or immigrants. And so, I think they have to be thoughtful. And if he does things, listen, I remember Rush Limbaugh saying the day that Obama took office, I am rooting for him to fail. Mm-hmm. I think it's the wrong thing to root for a president to fail if that president does things that are actually going to improve people's lives. And that should be the test.
What are the litmus tests this week, though, with the Lincoln Riley Act coming through the Senate, right? They're going into the final vote. Can we as a country put aside the partisanship that immigration has become, this hot button issue, and start to take steps together? This is going to be a litmus test.
But Aaron, what are some of the things that you're concerned about Trump doing and going too far? I mean, that's probably where do we start? But
this is a hypothetical. I think this needs to be a tailored approach when it comes to how we're going to be removing people from the United States who have been adjudicated and they should not be here. We need to make sure that is a thoughtful process and we are not just doing mass sweeps. You want to make sure, because we should know.
That is what he promised.
Well, he said he would get a lot of people out of the country. That's the important part here. When there's over 1 million that already have been adjudicated through the process, that's a lot of people, but they shouldn't be here anyway.
Listen, you're going to need a lot of cooperation. This is the Chicago point. You're going to need a lot of cooperation from state and local officials here, because the federal officials don't know where everybody is. They don't have the manpower. It's just going to be very difficult to do. So you're going to need a lot of coordination, a lot of collaboration. And to David's point, I think it's incumbent upon all Americans, right? If we want to make this country a better place at the end of the day, to work together on these types of things where we can agree, we can find common ground. Listen, the Obama administration did this. We can agree that bad people who shouldn't be here, not dreamers. There are a lot of good people here doing good things. But listen, America needs it. We got to get rid of the bad people.
But listen, the five of us, or at least the four of us on this side of the table, agree, right? We would all raise our hand and vote for that.
It's a new day in America.
But that's not what I'm presuming David and I are talking about. What we're talking about are those people who may be here illegally, may be going through the process, but have not committed a crime, right? We're talking about those people who are essential to our supply side, right? The people who go to work every day, who may do those menial jobs that no one else wants to do. When you're rounding up those people, you're going to see the residual impacts of that. And one of the things we haven't talked about is ending birthright citizenship. If Donald Trump does that tomorrow, what's the day? Tomorrow. Yeah. If he does that tomorrow, I mean, think about the effects. I mean,
but it's not constitutional.
He can't do
that. Beyond which, it's not particularly popular.
And also, Donald Trump.
It shouldn't be. I mean, if you look at Vivek Ramaswamy, I mean, that is the perfect example on the Republican side of birthright citizenship.
We need to be very honest in this
I don't know.
conversation.
There's some would argue that proves the other point.
I mean, it's funny that Vivek says he wants to end birthright citizenship.
But we need to be honest in this conversation, though, because Donald Trump has not said that he wants to round up everybody. He is being very clear. It is criminals. It's been those who've been adjudicated in the process right now, and we need to make changes.
But Tom Homan has said that mixed status families?
They will be separated. That's what happens.
No. He said that wasn't the question. The question was said, how do you not separate them? He said we round them up and we deport everybody. That's what Holman said.
He said you can all live
This is
together.
very complicated, and the question is, how thoughtful are they going to be, and how much do they want to provoke confrontations that they think are in their political
The good news
advantage?
is, the good news for America, the border is going to be secure, right? They're going to secure border, which is Americans want to see done, and we're going to have criminals deported. I think all Americans can agree that's a great thing.
Okay. We